Hello, welcome back. Has been a while. Uh, yeah, finished my exams about a week ago, so I've had some free time to catch up on stuff in life. And you know what? Today I wanted to make a video about the kind of misconception between the different kinds of operant conditioning. It's also called instrumental conditioning. Um, so yeah, let's get started. This is the other type of conditioning or learning as opposed to um, classical conditioning or classical learning or Pavlovian conditioning. Um, Pavlovian. Um, okay. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so what are the four basic types? So we have um, positive reinforcement, we have negative reinforcement, we have positive punishment, and we have negative punishment. And I'll go over these, don't worry. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I put this up here so we don't forget. Oh, go away. Okay. So, positive in conditioning terms means it doesn't mean good or bad, it just means adding. So, when somebody says positive reinforcement, it means they're adding something. When somebody says negative, it's the opposite of adding, which is removing. So, an example of positive reinforcement in this case, or I'll go over reinforcement and punishment. So, reinforcement means to increase behavior. Um, so, okay, and then punishment means to, if it's the opposite, it means to decrease behavior. And I just wanted to go over this because a lot of the media seems to use like negative reinforcement as some sort of like punishment for someone. Um, and like they'll give them something bad in order to reduce behavior. When it's in fact the opposite, it'd be positive punishment if you want to give them something to reduce their behavior. I remember this episode of House MD. If you haven't seen it, it's worth watching. Where one of the doctors has engages in promiscuous behavior with some person's sister, and they decided to punish them for this behavior. However, they called it negative reinforcement, which is incorrect. So let's just go over the table real quick, just a few examples, just to kind of see where we're at. So positive reinforcement, giving something to increase behavior. So this is giving something to the participant or subject or whoever, or patient, whoever you have, and it'd be something that they like or something that makes them continue doing this behavior. So you want to increase your child's chores. You want them to increase the amount of times they do chores. So you can condition them by giving them a cookie or money, right? But those two are different things. So let's just write down cookie and then money. They're different in that they're classified as different types of reinforcers. So a reinforcer is something that increases behavior, or a reinforcement. Um, a cookie is a primary reinforcer because it falls under it has some sort of it's a direct influence on the participant or subject or patient. Money is a negative reinforcer. It can't reinforce them directly. Oh, not negative. Secondary reinforcer. It does not reinforce them directly. To um, they use it to get other things that can reinforce their behavior. So they might use money to get clothing, which is a primary reinforcer, but it's not a very strong reinforcer. Many kids don't like getting socks for Christmas, and it's a very basic idea, but it's just kind of general. Like it's like a general thing. But like kids can use money to buy ice cream. Ice cream is a great primary reinforcer. Um, but the special thing about money is that even though it's a secondary reinforcer, it's likely more powerful than most primary reinforcers, which is kind of weird because usually it's the other way around. Primary reinforcers generally take precedent over secondary reinforcers. But the interesting thing about money is that it could be used practically anywhere. Um, so give cookie, we'll say. Negative reinforcement. It could be taking away something the child doesn't like, or a more clear example would be when you get into the car and you want to start driving. The car will start beeping at you, or at least most modern cars will. They'll start beeping at you to put your seatbelt on, and so to alleviate, or not alleviate, but it's alleviation of some kind. But to stop the beeping, you put your seatbelt on, and it's gone. You no longer have the annoying beeping, and this is the basic idea. Let's just put seatbelt beep. Mind the handwriting. Okay. Positive punishment. So, very much like reinforcers, punishers have primary and secondary classifications. But there are also like many different kinds of aspects to punishment. So there's time, there's intensity, there are many others. I'm not going to go through all of them because I think it'd take up way too long just to go through them all. Generally, when doing behavior modification, it's best not to use physical punishment. So this is like hitting a child, or like beating someone to stop them from doing something. It's a punisher because it'll stop them from doing something, but it's bad because it's a physical punisher. So a very very good punisher that's very effective and has seen many effective results when conducting studies with regards to punishment is a timeout for kids, I guess. I don't know if timeouts work on adults, but like suspensions, like if you do something bad at work or school, suspensions can is like a more complicated version of a timeout. And this deprives the child of things. And so this can be seen as both a positive punishment if you're directly, or it's mostly a negative punishment because you're removing them from the activity, but it can be seen as a positive punishment because you're putting them in a position that they don't want to be in. So I'll put it in negative punishment because it suits this one better. You're taking away something that the child wants to do. So you put them in a timeout during recess or when they're playing a game with their friends. Positive punishment, I'm going to write this down. It's not used or it should not be used because there are better alternatives. But I'm going to put it down, beating. I know it's a kind of a vulgar thing. So these are the basic kinds of reinforcement. A lot of the time, I want to get this one last thing out of the way. A lot of the time, I like read or talk to friends about conditioning, or if they have questions, they'll come ask me, or like I'll recommend a textbook or study. And a lot of the time they think classical conditioning and operant conditioning. So this is all operant conditioning, but they think classical conditioning are both exclusive, like they can't happen at the same time, which I think is not true, or it's definitely not true actually. Let's say there's an ice cream truck outside, so you hear the ice cream truck playing its jingle, and you go up, you pay, and you get ice cream. So there's two things happening here. There's positive reinforcement, so you go and you pay money and you get ice cream. This is a kind of positive reinforcement. It'll increase the amount of behavior. It'll increase this particular behavior to give money and get ice cream. Except there's also conditioning happening because before you actually got to getting the reinforcer, before you actually got to getting the delightful snack, I'm assuming you get ice cream out of an ice cream truck. You heard the jingle. It's a sunny day outside. Well, I hope the ice cream truck is coming out when it's sunny. Um, there are all these cues or involuntary cues that your body gets used to. And these are kind of classically conditioned. And so maybe I'll do another video on classical conditioning as well. But I just wanted to get this out of the way. Positive and negative means adding and removing respectively. Reinforcement and punishment means increasing and decreasing behavior respectively. So maybe when you're watching a medical drama, you can say, oh, wait, they used that wrong. I remember because I watched it in this guy's video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was informative and useful and engaging, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.